Every mammal on Earth depends on fur. It keeps them warm, protects their skin, helps them survive freezing winters, scorching summers, and everything in between. So millions of years ago, humans did something that should have been impossible. We got rid of almost all of it. But for some reason, evolution refused to remove one last patch: the beard. And here's the strange part. Scientists still aren't completely sure why. To answer that question, we first have to solve a much bigger mystery. Why did humans become one of the only nearly hairless mammals on Earth? At first, that doesn't sound unusual. After all, you're used to seeing human skin every day. But imagine looking at yourself through the eyes of another animal. Compared to almost every mammal alive today, you'd look unfinished. Chimpanzees are covered in hair. Gorillas are covered in hair. Dogs, cats, bears, even tiny mice, all wrapped in thick coats that evolution spent millions of years perfecting. Humans are the odd ones out, which makes almost no sense. Because fur isn't just decoration. It's one of evolution's greatest inventions. It traps heat when the temperature drops, shields the skin from harsh sunlight, softens cuts and scratches, and even makes animals appear larger by standing on end when they're frightened. If evolution is famous for keeping useful things, why would it throw away one that worked so well? The answer begins nearly 2 million years ago, back when our ancestors looked very different from us. They weren't living comfortably. Every day was a fight to stay alive. The forests that once protected them were shrinking. Open grasslands stretched for miles beneath a burning African sun. And that forced our ancestors to make a choice that would change the future of humanity forever. They left the trees. At first, that sounds like a terrible idea. The grasslands were hotter, more dangerous, filled with predators that could outrun, outfight, and outclimb them. Humans didn't have sharp claws. We didn't have powerful jaws. We weren't especially fast. In fact, if you raced almost any large animal alive today, you'd probably lose. So how did humans survive? For years, scientists struggled with that question. Then they realized they'd been thinking about speed all wrong. Humans weren't built to win races. We were built to win marathons. Imagine you're an antelope grazing peacefully under the African sun. Suddenly, a group of humans starts chasing you. You sprint away. Within seconds, you've disappeared into the distance. The humans never catch you. At least, not yet. Because they don't stop running. They don't need to. An hour later, they're still following your tracks. Another hour passes. They're still there. Slow, steady, relentless. Eventually, something unexpected happens. You begin to overheat. Your muscles become exhausted. You slow down. Not because the humans became faster, but because you became too tired to keep escaping. This hunting strategy is called persistence hunting. And remarkably, some communities still practice it today. Instead of overpowering their prey, they simply outlast it. But that raises another mystery. How could humans keep running for hours under the blazing sun when every other animal around them was collapsing from the heat? The answer wasn't stronger muscles or bigger lungs. It was something far stranger: sweat. Humans have between 2 and 5 million sweat glands spread across their bodies, far more than most mammals. While dogs cool themselves mainly by panting, humans turn almost their entire skin into a giant cooling system. Every drop of sweat that evaporates carries heat away, like millions of tiny air conditioners working all at once. But here's the problem. That system only works if the sweat can actually leave your skin, cover your body with a thick layer of fur, and suddenly that heat becomes trapped. The very thing that protected our ancestors for millions of years had become their biggest disadvantage. Little by little, generation after generation, humans with slightly less body hair could stay cooler. Those who stayed cooler could keep running longer. Those who ran longer caught more food. Those who found more food survived. And slowly, our thick coat began to disappear. It's one of the strangest trade-offs evolution ever made. We sacrificed warmth to become the greatest long-distance runners the world had ever seen. But if overheating was the problem, then evolution should have removed all of our hair, every last strand. Except it didn't. Instead, it carefully chose what to keep: hair on the top of your head, hair above your eyes, tiny hairs inside your nose, and somehow the beard, which means this was never a story about losing hair. It was a story about deciding which hair was still worth keeping. And that's where things become far more mysterious, because unlike scalp hair or eyebrows, scientists still can't agree on why beards survived at all. If beards no longer helped humans stay cool, why didn't evolution get rid of them too? At first, scientists thought they already knew the answer. Maybe beards simply protected the face. After all, the jaw is one of the most vulnerable bones in the human body. Some researchers have even suggested that thick facial hair could soften punches or reduce cuts. It's an interesting idea, but there's a problem. Humans had beards long before anyone was throwing boxing punches. So perhaps protection wasn't the real reason. Then another theory appeared. Maybe beards weren't about survival at all. Maybe they were about attraction. Think about a peacock. Its enormous tail makes escaping predators harder. It wastes energy. It's impossible to miss. From a survival perspective, it's a terrible design. Yet peacocks still evolved it. Why? Because females preferred it. Biologists call this sexual selection. Sometimes evolution doesn't reward the trait that helps you survive. It rewards the trait that helps you find a mate. Suddenly, beards start making a lot more sense. Unlike the rest of your body hair, beards usually don't appear until puberty. They're triggered by testosterone, the same hormone responsible for a deeper voice, broader shoulders, and increased muscle mass. In other words, a beard quietly announces something. I've reached adulthood. I'm healthy. My body is producing enough testosterone to grow this. Across many cultures, people have associated beards with maturity, wisdom, dominance, or masculinity. Even today, a simple change in facial hair can completely change how someone is perceived. But here's where the mystery returns. If beards were so attractive, why don't all men grow thick ones? Some men can grow a full beard before they're 20. Others barely grow one their entire lives. The answer lies inside your DNA. Hundreds of genes influence beard growth. Your ancestry also plays a role. Different populations evolved under different environments, with different histories and different preferences, which means evolution never settled on one perfect beard. It simply kept experimenting, and that reveals something fascinating. We often imagine evolution as an engineer, as if it carefully designs every feature for a specific purpose. But that's not how evolution works. Evolution doesn't plan. It doesn't look into the future. It simply keeps whatever works and removes whatever becomes too costly. Sometimes, it even keeps things that don't do very much at all. Think about goosebumps. When you're cold, the tiny muscles beneath your skin still pull on your hair. Millions of years ago, that made our ancestors' fur stand upright, trapping extra warmth and making them appear larger to predators. Today, most humans barely have enough body hair for goosebumps to do anything useful. Yet the reflex remains, not because it's important, because evolution never found a strong reason to remove it. The same is true for your tailbone. It's the last remaining trace of a tail your distant ancestors once had. Or wisdom teeth. They were useful when early humans chewed tougher food. Today, they often cause nothing but pain. Evolution isn't perfect. It's practical. And sometimes, it's simply lazy. Which brings us back to the beard. Maybe it survived because it signaled adulthood. Maybe it influenced attraction. Maybe it offered small advantages we still don't fully understand. Or maybe, once body hair disappeared, beards simply weren't harmful enough to disappear with it. Scientists still debate that question, and perhaps they always will. But maybe that's the wrong mystery to focus on. The real mystery isn't why humans kept beards. It's why evolution leaves anything behind at all. Every scar, every goosebump, every wisdom tooth, every strand of facial hair. They're all reminders that your body wasn't designed from scratch. It was built on top of millions of years of older versions. You're carrying the history of countless ancestors beneath your skin. Some of their solutions are still useful. Others are simply echoes of a world that no longer exists. So the next time you look in the mirror, that beard isn't just facial hair. It's one of the last visible clues to an ancient story that began long before humans ever called themselves human. And perhaps that's the strangest thing about evolution. It never truly erases the past. It simply keeps rewriting it. Thank you for watching Vinta.